It's time we all talked about a serious problem in Monster Hunter World. And that problem is a lack of Khezu. There are so many monsters with so little time, so little space in the game, it's honestly a big crime. Look at all these environments and all these cool places, we have a serious lack of seriously cool faces. These new monsters are fantastic, they move such a nice, but I wouldn't mind a few monsters returning in the Iceborne expansion, especially ones instead of Cotton, who evoke better penis jokes than a man named Richard Johnson. See no evil, hear no evil is the motto of this one jewel, but it's really nothing shocking to stick with family jewels. So without further ado, and with plenty of time to savor it, let's talk about a monster who's surely a fan favorite.
Oh yes. Everyone, if there's one thing Iceborne needs, it's a little bit of eerie creepiness. And I think I have sniffed out the right monster for the job. Now, Khezu has dividing opinions on him. But look, my opening argument is thus. Would you deny all of the New World hunters this experience? Just laugh at it! You can't just laugh at it! What the fuck? You can't just laugh at it!
5 minutes later.
Why is there a penis monster? And, you know, I like to see him as the ghost of the mountains that he is, the shadow in the cave, the drip drip of acidic saliva before you are forever claimed in his lengthy maw. But whichever it is, he would add a much needed source of true difference to the game. Seriously, do you not want to be part of this? That can be paired perfectly with a whole new map. And that is one that I've wanted for a while, actually. A true cavernous experience. A full-on cave world. And I don't just want parts of it to be underground. I don't just want in and outs, little rocky rooms like we got in the old games. I want them to take the beauty that they have wrought in world's landscapes and do a proper underground job. Now, yes, the Rotten Vale comes close, but look, tonally, it's not your average cave. It is full of rotting corpses, and it doesn't quite strike the same, let's say, ambience as exploring in the deep dark, the cold, rough stone, your only companion, the occasional trickle of water as an underground stream rushes by, and crystals softly glow as they are ingrained and running through the stone itself. And for the pièce de résistance, I would love a lush rainforest located beneath your feet. Yeah, essentially this kind of thing. And look, more than likely, a cave system is going to just be a layer of the main icy mountain map. We are, let's be honest, looking to get here. The lower depths of it, this sprawling system filled with ice and spikes, and ice spikes. It's not just like spike traps everywhere. You don't have to roll perception to live. Have Tigrexes slipping and sliding across a sheet ice cavern floor, slamming into the wall and giving you some uptime. There's a lot of cool potential, maybe causing cave-ins and changing the entire layout, opening up new chambers and sealing off old ones. An extension of the avalanche mechanic I talked about before, where causing one lets you slide down through the map at a much greater speed and cutting through zones that you previously had to slowly weave around and up. An avalanche up top, a cave-in down below. So let's take it back down, 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 down. And think then of this centerpiece, maybe directly underneath the highest peak of the mountain, very, very in the deep dark. they have this forest, beautiful, dazzling, and almost impossible, though we do have close real-world examples. And this, right, could be Nagakuga's home. That's why he's not in the ancient forest, but does make sense still in a tropically environment. He's been sealed off, thriving in his own mini playpen. Could totally give you room for a subspecies too, based on the slight change in dynamic. But to the main focus here, alright, we have to have a proper in-depth cave system, as you would imagine when I say to you, exploring a cave, and Khezu then should take the starring role in it. Yes, we could have Giginox. Look, I adore him too, and he uses the same skeleton as Nagakuga and Tigrex, and you know, we're getting Naga, so he should be fine to also slot on in, although Khezu is flying Wyvern too, and therefore just as fine, but adds a lot of difference. I mean, an extra lightning monster, and yes, he very much is all about that thunder fun, is a nice extra diversity in weapons, but he also looks nothing like anything. But yeah, we could definitely get Giginox all up in here, having his eggs bursting with young as they swarm you in World's aesthetic would be as memorable as it is. But
Hi.
Khezu, the classic, the OG. He then is a fascinating animal. I've given him his own lore, of course, and you can watch that for details. A blind, stretchy, almost see-through expert ambush hunter that can extend his neck and slowly pull you down his gullet for a fantastic fun time. And, of course, the best roar in the game. The only issue is he can't stop. The only issue is he can't stop. The only issue is he can't stop. Damn it, Khezu! The only issue is you won't shut up. This is why you're lonely and sad. Sorry about that. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Khezu! So he has a lot of wall climbing shenanigans. Using the same feet that are on a gecko, he slowly pads along the ceilings and walls, and he fights on them too. And this is something that could really be anchored with in World, because look, as cool as Khezu is, he does still fight kind of similar to a normal wyvern, not using his suction cup tail to swing around like he very well could. Whereas in World, he could lovingly play with the environment, dance with it all around you, around the cave, a full 360 degrees of attack angles, and really make you have to pay attention to everything. You could even give Khezu an extension of what I talked about in the Naga episode last time of the Hunter Hunted. You could have him slowly padding forward, upside down above you. You are blissfully unaware as his neck reaches for tender caress. And if you don't look up, if you don't move, ooh, say hello to your new soft, dark home. It's his neck and stomach. I just wanted to describe it as not just a neck and stomach, but saying hello to your new soft dark home is equally fucking weird. So I'm just gonna leave all of that mess and move on rapidly with my life. You can even have it so his theme music plays very quietly to begin with, and then gets louder and louder as he gets closer. And then just before his attack, it kicks up into roaring symphony, so you get a warning. Okay, but look, we need the monster that just weirdly has no background music. Like, I get why, but it's kind of just so off-putting in an unnatural way that doesn't quite make sense. And to be fair, for that reason, I do love him. Anything where I can see his flesh pulsing with his heartbeat is something that I am all about. So I would love to have Khezu in. I would have him hunt the hunter as I would with Naga, the more creepy underground equivalent as such. And really, it is a mechanic that you could just play with in Iceborne with Master Rank, G Rank. The monsters are this level above, but they're not just got inflated stats and a new move. They are more intelligent in combat. They have a more deliberate focus to them. They have this thinking that you can really tell. They have their strategies to go about dismantling you, the hunters, and actually implementing a series of ways that they actively go after you, just so that they don't walk around doing their thing until you boop them with a weapon and then the fight starts. If they bring the fight to you, I think that is something that could be really explored to great success, and Khezu is a perfect monster to pioneer it along with Naga Cougar. Adding that extra electrical diversity is phenomenal as well, especially given how he uses it. Just great gouts of it all around him in a cage of shock, and then little balls of death being fired outwards that just rip through everything. You could even have these, right, continue on, go up the wall, along the ceiling, back down, and come at you again, and you end up in this just amazing dance of dodging them left and right as you try and fight. Maybe he has more and more and more. As a last-ditch super attack in his nest, you have to play in this suddenly cave that's become a bug zapper, and you are the fly. I'd also love them with Khezu to bring back the older lighting system that they liked, but couldn't quite get to work the way they wanted, where it can get really damn dark, where you have to get a source of light, either from slinger ammo or, well, get creative. And imagine if Khezu's nest was nigh pitch black. Imagine if he softly hummed with his electricity, and that's the only way you had of actually seeing him. You have to defend in the pitch black against his stretchy, snaky neck out at you in the gloom. You can barely tell where or when. You have to try and hear his near soundless movements. Try and notice soft buzzes of his blue. Imagine that experience, a horror-esque hunting task, as you've had to follow your foe into his deep burrow, and before you know, the darkness is gone, and you're going to go back home, you know. Imagine walking along and seeing a Khezu neck extend out of a little crevasse nearby and try and snap at you. Doesn't even necessarily need to be a monster on the map. Maybe this Khezu is just an environmental trap, right? But it is technically a Khezu. It's not one you're hunting, not one that's there, but you go past that dark space in that one zone at the corner of the map, and a Khezu will lash out at you. You see a small monster passing in front of it, and it gets gotted. That would be really neat. Imagine hunter environmental traps, not just monster ones, ones that you can fall into to give the monster an advantage. That is something that could really sell the brutality of this brave new island we're exploring with its frosty bitterness and the increased master rank. That is what defines an expert hunter, to not only utilize the environment against the monster, but make sure the environment doesn't rise up against you. And yeah, I know stuff like the falling boulders and the like can knock you over for a little bit, and the waterfall from the Rathalos nest can caught you up in it, but, you know, they're incidental little things. I mean, something that really kinda sets you up for the monster to knock you down. Something that isn't just a, oh, silly me, but an actual, oh, fuck, I need help, guys, get me out of this, oh no. You know, that kind of intense feeling. And having an environment trap take the form of an ambience monster that's not really there to be hunted, but, you know, makes a cameo appearance, would be a really unique way of selling that setting. And you could lure what you were fighting next to it and have Khezu latch onto them with his lamprey-esque mouth, sink the teeth in, and you could have a Khezu wrestling against this, for sake of argument, Devil Joe as it's trying to pull him into the wall. Obviously, the Devil Joe is way stronger and will rip 3 with minor damage, but instead of vines, you're getting extra uptime because the monster is wrestling with a Khezu that's part of the map. How would just be absolutely phenomenal. Not to mention the turf wars you could have with this guy. They would be absolutely freaky, and you could totally catch one slowly devouring a herbivore down his long neck, and that would give you a little bit of time on him as well. But he just has this eeriness that I think would really add a lot, and I think you could do some phenomenal things with him. Have a proper cave system, make Khezu the king of it, and have him really go out of his way to not just specifically hunt you, but mess with you, creep you out, get under your skin as you can see through his, and shock you into submission. Give him a little bit more grace, a little bit more speed. Maybe let him use his wings to get around in little bursts instead of just weirdly flying like he sometimes does, and it makes no actual sense, but actually give him a little bit of an edge that right now I feel like he lacks. So yeah, that is Khezu. I would love to see him, and as always, I like this monster and I think it would work. Here's a few little ideas and why. What do you guys think? How would you implement him? What do you suggest? How would you modify what I have said? And I think there is a lot of good to be said here. There really is. I want to see the original creeper back in the game. Like you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and here's hoping our loathsome wyvern is back once again. A goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.